In this lecture, we'll see the different categories where the data warehouse or the business intelligence or the ETL testing can be performed. When I say categories, what are the different project situations in which this can be done, right? So as you can see it on the screen, you have the new data warehouse testing, which is you have a new data warehouse which is implemented and you need to test that. Or another situation can be you have a migration going on from a legacy system to a new technology or a new server or a new setup which you have done. And the important aspect within the migration testing is the data migration. Third one is change request, which is the data warehouse is already existing. You have the whole setup done at the data warehouse layer, the BI layer, of course the ETL layer before the BI layer, and you get regular change requests from different stakeholders of the project, right? And the other case is the reporting, which is your OLAP, dashboards, and report testing, right? Now, if you ask me, are these the only situations in which we test the overall setup? I would say no, there could be more depending on the situation of the application, depending on the need, depending on the drive of the overall requirement. This could change. For example, if you take a regulatory requirement, regulatory is nothing but a policy which has to be followed by all organizations, which is set by a governing body. For example, if you take the telecom industry, there will be a governing body which will keep on checking if the customers are being properly held with a nominal rate or with a normal rate, right? If there is some provider who is charging them pretty high on data access rather than the regular call charges, they would ask them to stop it, right? And within that governing body, they will also come up with a lot of new improvements and new technologies which will benefit them as the company and also benefit the customers, right? So those kind of regulatories can order you to do something, right? For example, keep all the call data of the last 10 years, for example, for whatever purposes, right? Legal purposes, for some investigative purposes, etc. Right? So in those kind of situations, you might consider that as a new change which can go into your third part, or if you're already planning to build it as a data warehouse, that will also be part of your requirement, right? And as part of this change request, if you're trying to move it onto a new system, let's say which is of higher capacity from the infrastructure perspective, you might also do the data migration, right? So it is all driven by the requirement and driven by the situation. The clear demarcation between all this is the second, third, and fourth could be your existing project. Now you could also say migration testing or data migration will be done only when we are doing a new data warehouse. Yes, that is possible. So if you chunk it out, two possibilities: new data warehouse, migration testing, which includes the data migration, or migration testing, data migration, change requests, and the existing reports for the data warehouse, right? So these are possibilities. Now, again, are these the only ones? There could be more, depends on the domain which you're working and the requirement which the business wants to fulfill, right?